to Elementary. I hope you're having a fabulous Monday from wherever you are. So today I want to start with a little bit of a different take. The topic today is 10 downsizing myths, and I'm going to try and go through these really quick. In addition to the topic, I want to start with saying how grateful I am for you, that you spend your evening with me watching the show. I'm grateful for your 10 downsizing myths that people kind of go through in their head. So number one is losing your lifestyle. And I think it's more about gaining your lifestyle. This is where you start to think of your life, your home in a different view. You know, you start to pick up, maybe you have hobbies. Perhaps you have less dating to do because you're downsizing. Or more time with your family because you have a downsized version of a home. Number two is getting rid of everything. So the way I look at this one, it's more about prioritizing your stuff or your items or your possessions as opposed to getting rid of it. It's about right sizing. It's about getting the items that truly sparks joy, Marie Kondo style. Number three, downsizing is only for old people, or older people, should I say. And anyone, young professionals in my scope, young professionals, empty nesters, families, it's about living smarter. I find a lot of these groups actually falling into this classification of downsizing. And downsizing is actually more right-sizing, right? You might have a huge house and you might realize that, hey, as an empty nester, I probably don't need as much space, the kids have left, as a growing family. Even if you're a growing family, perhaps your house is way too big and you want to downsize a little bit, get rid of, you want to live a little smarter, you want to have more time, more money to go on vacations and have more away time as opposed to home time. And this is all part of it, right? Number four, smaller homes are less comfortable. And that's not true, because smaller homes can offer you the luxuries and functionalities of any home. Even a large home that's not functional and doesn't have the finishes you're looking for, or the space that is truly what you're looking to achieve. It doesn't matter how big your home is. It's all about functionality. It's about the luxuries you can add to it. It's about your lifestyle, really. Myth number five, it's too stressful. And so downsizing can be a bit stressful for some, but it really comes with a great plan. And if you put a great plan of action into place, downsizing can be quite easy. As a matter of fact, why don't you drop a comment below, and I'm happy to send along my guide, my Chic Moves Signature Process guide. It will give you a good insight as to what we do just to get you downsized and into the right space. Myth number six, it's not financially beneficial. Now, I want to say this, it can be financially beneficial, but it may not be, because people so let's say you're in the perfect spot where the mortgage is coming up for renewal, you've got a larger mortgage, you want to downsize and free up some of your equity, because you'll now move into a smaller home, and you'll also want to, you'll have a reduction in maintenance, utilities, and like I mentioned, you'll free up some equity so you can do other stuff with it. Or you can just pay down your mortgage and then live mortgage free without any hassles. Myth number seven is space for guests, and that you won't have space for guests. So let me tell you a story. When my parents were downsizing, now downsizing doesn't have to be done all at the same time, but when my parents were downsizing, and I remember having this conversation, and I'm going to talk about my parents, but I've had this conversation with a couple of different clients. She downsized in stages. So she went from a large house to a townhouse, a freehold townhouse, and then she moved into a condo. And so when she moved into the condo, she was saying to me, how she could not handle having such, a small condo. She wanted a big, large condo, and she wanted 2 to 3 bedrooms. Anyway, she settled for a 2-bedroom, but I thought she could do with a 1-bedroom. But she kept telling me, what if someone visits? And I go, okay, so when did someone visit the last time? And she just chuckled. And then she's like, well, what if you come home? And I'm like, well, I live down the street from you. I can go home and sleep in my own bed. And so I think it's mindset. But most importantly, you don't buy a home. You don't buy real estate hoping someone's going to come visit, right? I mean, if you're in a condo building, they probably have a guest suite, and you probably could rent it for very little a day or a night. If you have a living room, maybe you have a pull-out bed, and people can manage with what you have. You have what you have, and if people are going to come visit you, they'll just have to deal with what you have. Now, myth number 8 is you have to move far away. And this can be true if you want to move far away, but technically, you can actually stay around the same area you are because you are looking to downsize into a smaller property. You might just have to get something smaller than what you have in order to make that work. So if you want location, you may just have to pay a little bit more. And if you want to move outside the city or a little further outside the city, you probably will get something a little cheaper. Now, myth number 9 is you'll miss your old home. Now, it's natural that you would miss your old home, but your new home can also bring you new memories and a new chapter in your life, really. I've known so many of my clients that have downsized and got into a space that they truly love. Perhaps in their old home, they waited long enough to get like the renovations, and perhaps the home was not functional enough for them. The reason for buying it may have been, constraints with budget, the whole 9 yards. So when they're looking to downsize, sometimes when you get to this stage, you're actually looking to downsize in a different light. You're looking to find a home that you will truly, truly love, and also a space that is a lot more functional, and perhaps the budget was not as tight as the last time you bought a home. So these are some of the things. Obviously, be making new memories, and those are part and parcel of downsizing and moving to a home. And even if you were upsizing, you'd be making new memories. So either way, it's about making new memories. And myth number 10, it's a one-time decision. And some people think that once you downsize, you cannot downsize anymore. It has to be a one-time thing. And it's not true. I have people. So as I mentioned to you, downsizing can be in multiple steps. No different than when you upsize and you buy your first maybe condo, and then you moved in and you bought your first townhouse, and you moved in and bought maybe a bigger freehold townhouse, and so on and so forth, and then a detached. And so in reverse order, I have clients who are downsizing from a freehold, like a detached home, into a townhome. Then I have clients who are actually downsizing from a 2-story to a bungalow. And sometimes the bungalow is pretty large, but they want the bungalow, they want to go to one level. And then I have clients that are downsizing to a condo. And so it's not a one and done. It can be in multiple steps. And even if you downsized and went into, let's say, a townhouse or a condo, you could at any point decide, like, maybe you want something a little different, and perhaps you want some other amenities, or you want to change where you live, and that's okay too. It can be done in many steps. So that's my 10 myths about downsizing. What are your thoughts? Do you have a myth that you are believing about downsizing? And so share them in the comments below. But most importantly, what are your thoughts about downsizing? Have you been thinking about it? Are you on the fence? Do you need to have a conversation with someone just to see what value you have in your home, and how you can get to a stage of perhaps being closer to a mortgage-free lifestyle or a more functional lifestyle? I have clients who don't have a mortgage and still want to look at downsizing. They want to find a way to get the equity out of their property so that they can actually truly start living life, travel. See, some of us have done the traveling piece, but there are some of my older clientele who've waited till they get to retirement to travel. And those clients are actually the ones who are suddenly realizing that they've waited so long, their health is not the best. But nevertheless, they've decided that, hey, maybe now is a good time as any to take on and do these trips that they've been looking forward to. So that's my rant on 10 myths about downsizing. Let me know your thoughts, okay? Just an update on the real estate market. So the market is no different than what it was. The market's a bit slow, and I think there's a lot of people sitting on the fence, which is and I can tell just from my own clientele, the ones that were looking are taking a little longer. And I'm still showing a few homes, but they're not as hot and heavy as as you would in previous years. Having said that, I think the market will pick up at some point. The housing, the need for housing hasn't decreased. So that will still happen. Like, the market will pick up. It's just a matter of time. And once people start to feel like the rates are going down, or that they can maybe get a better rate, something a bit more affordable, they might just start to look again. But having said that, like I said to people, do what's right for you, but make sure you make an informed decision on whatever you decide to do. You should be able to, either talk to a mortgage broker, figure out how much you can afford, and don't overextend yourself. Like, if you can't afford it, I'm seeing people who are losing their shirts because perhaps, they've put in all these incomes and they were trying to tell people that, hey, I'm making so much money, and they qualified for a big mortgage. So I would say, if you qualify for a mortgage, make sure you're using reasonable income, like not people that are like not living with you. If you're a two people household, like two people are working, don't bring in your parents' income, don't bring in someone else's income. I mean, that's a legal way to do it. You still have to pay it, right? So know what you're getting into is what I would say to you before you just jump in feet first. Having said that, you can still upgrade your home at any point. You can get a larger home at any point. You do not have to buy this large home all at once. Anyhow, thank you for watching, and until next time, we'll talk soon.